You are about to listen to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast, hosted by Craig Forrestal. Find Craig on Twitter at that_sports_guy. The That Sports Guys podcast is proudly featured by NFL Draft Diamonds, your draft coverage king. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some football talk.
Hello and welcome to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. I am Craig Forrestal. You might know me from Twitter as at that_sports_guy. And this evening with us is former Wisconsin-Whitewater offensive lineman Quinn Meinerz. Quinn, what's going on with you?
Nothing much. Just kind of, counting the days down to the draft and just continuing to work out, and kind of my days have been pretty busy. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, hanging in there down here in Florida. I had a busy day with my son. He had me running around at the park. But Quinn, the last time we spoke over the summer, I was not a good host. I didn't tell you about the one time I was on the campus of Wisconsin-Whitewater. So if you'll be a good sport, I got a little bit of story time for us. So I actually went to Carroll College, well, now Carroll University, out in Waukesha for a little bit. I know you know that because of Coach Owen Reese. I was in a fraternity over there at Carroll, and we went to a sorority formal at Whitewater because one of the sororities at our school also had a chapter at Whitewater. And so we get to the sorority, we get going, and then all of a sudden the campus of Whitewater came alive, and I had myself a fabulous time. Wisconsin-Whitewater is one of my favorite colleges in all of America, and I've been to a bunch of them, Quinn. So that's my little story about my time at Whitewater. It was just one night, not 4 years, just one night. So I'll go ahead and just leave you with that little tidbit. But I need to ask you about that first meal out after the pro day. Culver's was your choice, and it sparked me to get a little and have a cheat day myself. We have one in my area down here in Florida, and my go-to is the Culver's Deluxe Double, and I keep it how they perfected it. Cheese, pickle, onion, mayo, tomato, and lettuce. I swap the fries for cheese curds. I get the ranch, always a Sprite, and then I get a little something for later on, either a root beer float or I get a concrete chocolate mixer with the Snickers and Butterfinger. So Quinn, what's your meal when you're there? And go ahead and explain to everyone why Culver's is just so much different than a burger place.
So I've been talking about that after my pro day cheat meal for a long time. So my go-to every single time I'm at Culver's is a mushroom and Swiss burger. And then, the go-to, if you see someone with fries, they don't know what they're doing, because you need to switch them out for the cheese curds and ranch. And then I got a concrete, and it was chocolate ice cream and cookie dough bites. Great. It was an amazing cheat meal. And Culver's for me is just like one of those, like, you're at home kind of a thing. I was in Texas for such a long time, and it was just great to come back and have that the nostalgia of like Wisconsin. Like, the cheese curds are amazing, the ranch was amazing, the custard, I was just like, man, like, it's just Wisconsin when you go to a Culver's. And I think that's the only way to describe it, other than the next best place is then Quick Trip because of the Glazers and stuff. But, down in Texas, they spelled Quick Trip with a Q, and I could not be bothered to go there and spend my money there.
And now, any future face of Culver's, a little endorsement deal for you, Quinn?
We'll see what happens. Nothing yet, but I mean, I wouldn't turn that down. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Absolutely. And when we first spoke over the summer, you mentioned how you weren't too active on social media. But however, since then, the Canada workout video's blown up. There's the clip of you dunking during a workout that's gone viral, and you've become a social media darling along the way. What were your thoughts when you found out that Canada workout video was being shown during the Senior Bowl?
It was honestly distracting, because I was so focused on the game and like trying to, win the game, try to do everything I could to help my teammates win. And then I just constantly see on the big board, pretty much my entire video is being played on there, which it was really cool. And, it's just, I really don't know how to describe it. It's been insane. And, I was actually just on my YouTube channel. It's got like 12,000 views or something. And it's just, people constantly are watching it, commenting on it. And it's a good laugh for everybody. And that's, the main purpose of it was like to show, one, what I'm doing, two, to have a kind of a good laugh and have people enjoy it.
And like I just mentioned, you've become a social media star, but you've used your platform for a cause that's very near and dear to you. Could you please talk to us about Hugs for Elena and what our audience can do to show their support?
So Hugs for Elena, it's supporting a 14-year-old girl by the name of Elena Shelsta. And the way I know her is that her father was my offensive line coach in high school. So I've had a pretty solid relationship with that family for a long time. And I've always wanted to do something to help. So Elena suffers from a rare form of GLUT1, which, she needs help finding life-saving treatment for that. She's one of the very few people in the world that has what she has, and is constantly, battling, every single day, every weekend and stuff like that. So I did do a shirt sale that has been closed and done with, but we do still have the GoFundMe page open, and through that you can find the Facebook page, and you can read more about her story and what she's going through, because her family does post on that Facebook page of kind of what she's doing. And it means a lot to me to be able to help somebody from my hometown, and from a coach that really meant a lot to me and continues to support me throughout the entire career of playing football. So it's really cool, and the unbelievable support. So the people that have, whether they have bought a shirt, that are listening to this and have donate to the GoFundMe, I really appreciate it, and thank you guys. And I got something kind of special planned once kind of all the shirts are kind of distributed before the draft and stuff. So kind of stay tuned for that.
Absolutely, a little teaser there. And now we also previously talked about how you had worked on snapping the ball during the off season. And of course, everyone has seen the results based on your performance at the Senior Bowl. But Quinn, take us through, what was your training regimen like at the center position?
Yeah, I think when we talked in the summer, I was kind of like telling you how I was kind of starting my journey of trying to play center. And so what I was doing was, in my backyard, I had I have a pretty solid sized backyard. And I would set up a garbage can and had a little pizza paddle in it. And so the pizza paddle is kind of like that area kind of right above your chest. So that way, if I knew it was going to be a good snap if I hit the pizza paddle. And it also made it so if I hit the garbage can at all, it was still a solid snap and I wouldn't have to run as far. So I was recording myself with my GoPro, and I have tons of videos and footage just so I could coach myself and watch my own tape of snapping. So I really learned center kind of on my own. And the Senior Bowl was just one of my first opportunity to really kind of show off what I've been doing. And it was, I think the film and everything shows for itself. I did pretty good.
And another thing we touched on was the possibility of playing in an all-star game. Quinn, take us through it all. When we last spoke, you were unsure if there was even going to be a season for Whitewater. So take us through the decision to declare for the draft, and then ultimately how you found out about your Senior Bowl invite.
So in the summer, the options that I had were, the transfer portal, come back to Whitewater, or declare. And those were the three options. I was really waiting. Like, when I first posted on social media that I was officially declaring, I made that decision like maybe a week before that. Like, I made the decision like a week before that. So like everyone kind of knew it as I was making this decision as well. But the information that I had, and the conversation I had with my family, and honestly just the belief in myself, because I knew how hard I was working every single day. And so to go how I kind of got invited to the Senior Bowl, because my goal was always play in the Senior Bowl, but I knew it was going to be a stretch not having a season. And then as I was seeing the NFLPA Bowl canceled, or East-West Shrine game canceled, and I was like, well, how am I supposed to get the question answered of level of competition, which was the main thing that was held against me from the scouts. So I went down to MJP and trained with Duke Manyweather and Rashawn Slater for about 3 weeks in November, because Whitewater went fully virtual at that point. So all I needed was my computer and a solid internet connection. I could complete that semester. And that was really what kind of pushed me up through the rankings, because nobody really knew what was happening, because all they could turn on was 2019 film, and people weren't particularly pleased with that film in order to get invited to the Senior Bowl. So that workout video I was able to put together with Duke and Rashawn really opened Jim Nagy's eyes, and I kind of jumped towards the top of the reserve list, which still I wasn't happy with that. And January rolls around, and it's 2 weeks out from the Senior Bowl. I still haven't gotten an invite, and I'm just like, kind of lost hope at that point. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not going. And then, I spoke too soon, and then Jim Nagy gives me a call. I think there was a couple injuries or people opted out, and so I get a call. And so kind of to go to the backstory, I get done with my workout at Exos, because I'm down in Frisco, Texas, training for the combine stuff, and I got 2 missed calls and a text message from my agent, and he says, hey, answer that call call back that person that called you. So I had no idea who it was. I called back the number, and it's, hey, Quinn, how are you doing? I was like, I'm doing good. Who am I talking to? He goes, you're talking to Jim Nagy. How'd you feel about, putting on that Warhawk helmet one last time? And, I just broke down into tears, just because, when you work so hard for so long and it finally comes together, it's an emotional moment. And I definitely am totally fine with that. And then it was cool to call my dad, and the rest is history at that point.
And by now, everyone's heard about your performance at the Senior Bowl, but I want to hear about it from you. What was the adjustment like for you getting back into pads? Because it had been more or less over a calendar year since the last time you had been playing in a game. So from your standpoint, did it take you a few snaps to get balanced and adjusted back into, the swing of things, and then also the transition with that level of competition question?
So day one, it was really, I just walking through that tunnel. I can remember when I was talking, kind of like having that talk with myself, where it was like, just be confident, be yourself, and do what you've always done. And that was kind of the mentality that I took. So yeah, the gut was coming out. That was being me, and I was just being natural. And I had to learn center on the job, and that's tough. It is what it is. You got to just do it. And so I think the first couple of snaps were, a little bit ugly, but I knew right away that I was matching up physically very well. Like already I was like, wow, I'm getting a lot more movement than I thought, because I was originally like, I'm going to be fighting for my life every single rep. And I really wasn't. I was able to, hold my own very well. And I think that just shows how hard I was working out. And so I think day one was definitely like a lot of rust. You could just see I was kind of falling down a little bit. And just, some just simple kind of mistakes, but I was still able to show some of the physicality. And I think day 2 was when I was like, day 2 and day 3, things were starting to click, and I was just moving and going and kind of back in the same groove that I was kind of at Whitewater, where it was just kind of latching on to people and then taking them for a ride.
And you were having an epic week, and then you injured your hand, and ultimately the decision was to keep you out of the game. I heard that you were pleading your case to Coach Brian Flores to let you play in the game. Is that true? And take me through exactly how you played your case to him.
100%. Yeah, that's definitely true. So we're doing our Friday walkthrough, and I have my hand kind of casted up. I already know at that point that my fourth metacarpal was broken. And Coach Flores comes up to me. He goes, I'm not playing you tomorrow. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, you did everything you needed to. I don't feel right about it. You're not playing. And then he kind of walked away to, finish up the walkthrough. And in my head, I was like, there's got to be something we can do. Like, yeah, I can't play center, but can we like put a cast on it and I can play guard or something? And so after we got done with our walkthrough, I started talking to the athletic trainer. I had my agent talk to the athletic trainer, and I was trying to get, a series or 2 or something. And Coach Flores walks out of the room, and I stop him. And I was like, hey, like if we just put a cast on it, like I can get a couple of series in. And so I was, that's kind of was my thing. Like, yeah, I can still play. I still got some couple fingers I can use. He stops and stares at me for like 20, 30 seconds, which kind of felt like an eternity. And he's kind of gave me that blank stare, and he just went no and shook his head. And then we eventually came to the agreement on getting in on victory. And that was really cool to, I did get some reps. I was able to kind of barter a little bit, not as much as I wanted, but it was cool to still get those 2 snaps in out there.
And then also the reports are that everyone loves you in Mobile, and you became a favorite of fans, TV personnel, and other players at the event with you. Talk about your personality, Quinn. What is it about you that makes you such a likable guy?
I think a lot of, to kind of go back, day one, when, we're all walking through the building or going into practice, I felt like I was kind of sticking out a little bit, but nobody paid attention to me whatsoever. Like, nobody really knew who I was, nobody, whatever. And then after day one, people kind of started to know who I was talking to me a little bit. And I think the main thing is just like, I'm always kind of a positive, always in a positive mental attitude. I'm trying to have a good time, but I'm also a really hard worker. And I think those are 2 things that are kind of the big parts of my personality. Is like, I'm always trying to be, having a good time, but I'm also someone that works really hard. And I think a lot of people can respect that. So I think I earned a lot of people's respect throughout the week. And then I think people just like it's one thing to have the gut out, but it's another thing to have the gut out and also like perform well. So I think it was kind of just a natural thing that all kind of came together.
And you recently said on Good Morning Football in an interview while talking to Nate Burleson that leading up to the draft, you're focused on your workout routine and transitioning into a fall camp mindset. Tell us what a fall camp mindset means or looks like to you.
So fall camp is really when a team kind of comes together. Like it's the new year. It's always a new team every single year. So that's when you're really trying to figure out who you are. And fall camp is really going to test, your physical attributes, your mental attributes, and just how well you can handle the whole thing together, especially as a rookie and coming from a small school. So I know how difficult it is going to be. And that's just, what I'm preparing to do is just getting ready, getting my body ready for, an NFL fall camp. It's going to be hot. There's going to be, everyone's trying to fight for their job. There's going to be a whole class of rookies, free agents, the veterans are there. And I think that's just a thing where you have to just you can try to prepare as best as you can, but there's a point where it's how well you can react to things that are also going to happen that you can't prepare for. So getting ready for fall camp is definitely where I'm at, because it's not so much like before Senior Bowl, it was like, I don't know if I'm going to get drafted at all. Like I'm maybe a free agent. And now it's like, okay, I think getting drafted is something, that I can humbly say that is going to happen. And now it's like, all right, now I got to figure out how to block some of these elite defensive tackles and then also mesh with another offensive line, because I know how much that chemistry matters.
And now, Quinn, what can you contribute to an NFL team from day one in the position room and also on the field?
I think a big part of it is kind of what I was saying with the Senior Bowl stuff, which is why people kind of, I don't know, maybe naturally gravitated towards me or were willing to talk to me. And I think they really like playing alongside, with me. So it's that showing up every single day with a positive mental attitude. I think that's something that, I don't think you can have enough of that in a locker room. Just the people that are showing up every single day and with a smile on their face and just ready to work. I think there's a lot of people that, have that, get to, or the got to kind of, you get to go out there and practice. You don't got to, you get to. It's really one of those mindsets. And I think the hard work piece, man, like I don't want anybody to outwork me ever. That's something you can control. And when you have something that you can control, your effort and your attitude, and those are 2 things that you can control. And I think bringing those 2 influences would help a team a lot.
And now the NFL has become a league of schemes, systems, and specialization. Do you feel that you fit a certain scheme or system best?
I really just feel like I can do a lot. And I think it's probably going to be, a nice zone scheme. I think, I was able to show a lot of my skills, outside zone at center, where I was able to really just get to that nose every single time pretty much and get a lot of movement at the point of attack. So I think at center, that zone scheme, I think would work really well. But I mean, I think I can mold myself into any type of position.
And Quinn, you had all 32 teams in attendance for your pro day workout. Take us through that pro day, and did you hit all the goals that you set for yourself?
So that pro day was awesome. I woke up kind of hoping that it was going to be really good weather, because in a typical year I'd go to the Badgers pro day, but they unfortunately told me that I couldn't do that. So I had to set up my own pro day and hope for good weather. But I definitely accomplished all the goals that I set out. I'm not sure if I said this on the previous podcast, but I've been chasing that 4.940 for a long time, and to be able to finally put that to rest and be a part of that club forever now is awesome. I just hit everything I wanted to. I was a little disappointed with the 3-cone drill, and that was because we had these massive cones that were way bigger than the ones that I was training on. Like, I think the cones that we had at my pro day were like 1.5 feet like tall, and when you're trying to cut around those cones, I'm pretty mobile and flexible, so I can really like kind of use those angles, but I wasn't able to because I was hitting the cone. So little things like that, but I was able to overcome it all and have a really good pro day, and I was really happy with it.
And now, Quinn, what are your short-term and long-term football goals?
I would say my short-term goal is to, make a 53 and compete for a starting job. I think I'm able to, with showing how well I was able to transition into the Reese's Bowl. I know that it's another big jump into now playing, and I'm going to be playing against 30-year-olds, people that have been playing for a long time. So I think I can make that transition, but I think it just takes the reps and the learning from some of the vets on how to be a professional football player. My long-term goal is solidify as a center, and I think I'm trying to be the best, man. Like I wake up every single day working my hardest just because I want to try to be the best. I think that's a good goal, whether it be guard or center, or the best person that can be the swing player, or the best person and whatever. So Pro Bowl and those types of things are in the future.
And now, Quinn, the last question that we have set up for you tonight. Over the years, we've seen athletes will watch the draft with family, friends, and do other things to enjoy the moment. How do you plan on watching the draft?
So my plan is really simple. I'm just going to be in my hometown of Hartford, Wisconsin. I'm going to be with my family and my girlfriend, and be with the original people that have been with me the entire time on this journey. And that's just how I see fit, and I think it'll be nice to just kind of enjoy that moment all together. And I think you'll be seeing me participating virtually, so you'll see the reaction.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that is former Wisconsin-Whitewater offensive lineman Quinn Meinerz. He's had an amazing rise to where he is right now on draft boards, and we're coming to the end of it all in just a couple of weeks, and we'll see where Quinn will be calling home for his NFL future. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, that is former Wisconsin-Whitewater offensive lineman Quinn Meinerz. I am Craig Forrestall. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.
Hey everybody, Craig Forrestall. Thanks for tuning in and listening to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at @that_sports_guy to catch all the latest updates and podcast episodes. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.